Hello, hello everyone, and thank you for being here with us today. Today you will hear me, Antonella Bertagnin, Art Director and Lineapelle Fashion Committee Coordinator, and Chiara Fantage, our English speaker. Hello, Chiara.
Hello, Antonella. Hello, everybody.
The new claim of the season is Fix the Future, and at a time when uncertainty is the only certainty, it has not been easy to look beyond the present and imagine the future. We just have to be pragmatic and analyze the changes in order to understand what the critical features for the future will be. As we live through the pandemic, we are experiencing a slow time that is recalibrating the rhythms of life. There is a frenetic time that flies by in a rush, and a slow time that makes us feel and perceive what we are doing. Now we need slow time to grow and plan new alternative directions. A slow time to create, experiment and explore, to develop beautiful new products in preparation for the future that awaits us. A future when we will be euphoric and relieved. The first slide showed the Earth seen from the moon. Symbolically takes us back to the dawn of humanity, but the fact that we can admire it from this perspective is thanks to the evolution that has led us to what we are today, an evolved civilization capable of boldly voyaging into space. Slow down to go far and go more distant, and never forgetting that we are just a tiny lump of earth wandering through infinity. Blue and green, parallel words intertwined, the green of nature, of course, and humankind, and the blue of technology and innovation. The two words to introduce the concept are inspired by an Italian philosopher who has synthesized the contemporary mood into colors, green and blue, a naive idea in a good way. The word naive also means simple, free, and native. Green and blue are the colors that represent this idea, this naive idea. They are colors that become concepts, flashes of contemporary society that we can inhabit both physically and culturally. Green, of course, is a green society, circular based on sharing, and blue is innovation, a mature society of digital and open source information. By bringing together these activities, we can promote a way of living together that focuses on the quality of relationships and processes, rather than on conceptions and things. We can say that the 21st century begins today. It starts as the pandemic ends. In just a few months, our society leapt forward several years. The new situation we now see developing is the coming together of two routes. Two important directions have emerged and are converging towards the new worlds. This is an unmissable opportunity to rewrite the rules and found a new vision of society. The fashion we knew is dead. The habits of the past have been revolutionized. We can see this on the catwalks, in the communication, and the new ways of working that will be reluctant to give up, and that are teaching us about new lifestyles. I'm thinking about smart working, for example. New lifestyles is equal new needs and means new products. Over just a few months, sales statistics have become history. All the paradigms have changed. The digital world became an environment, not just a way of communicating. We can see this in the boom of the online sales of brands through influencers or the world of video games. Or, for example, the telesales of luxury items imported from China. Or again, the possibility to buy directly for Instagram and the presence of brands on the gaming platforms. New and interesting space environment are here. We got to grip with digital tools in no time at all. A new word is born, the phygital world. Online is close to the physical channel and vice versa. One supports the other. Producing phygital content is an innovation from which there will be no turning back. New scenarios are opening up for creativity and in the broadest sense. The process of simplification that began before the pandemic has become a driving force. It has now started to explore new directions, also in contrast to the past, where we are guided by local and global logics, here and everywhere. The crisis has led us to mutation. We need to redesign the future starting from the new normality. This is a period of transition when we can re-establish rethink the concept of normality, a new normality. The crisis leads to mutation. Let's start from certainties. Digital is now part of our life and reality is losing its anchor. Then let's start from what we had already considered in the previous season, but did not have time to bring to fruition. A new important is given to value equality. It doesn't matter how much you say, but what you say. The new generations are very sensitive to this. New words are fashion and body, fashion and home, fashion and gender. Physical and tactile are very important. The body in dialogue with fashion. Our home has changed our relationship with the way we dress. The home has changed the way we live. It has become a primary place to be taken care of like the body itself. We will speak about, for example, about the success of home footwear. And then protective wear, utility wear, streetwear, local and global. Local become exotic. The branding offering local jobs, and local determines identity. Euphoria and optimism are the new words for the future. A joyful, liberating fashion in search of sensory pleasure. 3 more words: knowledge, flexibility, fluidity, and freedom at last. Mantras that are both old and new. The times has come to make the theoretical real. Combining scientific knowledge, a source of hope and innovation, with the sartorial skills, with craftsmanship, which is more emotional and tactile. The 2 most likely fields of employment for the youth of the future will be digital and artisanal. We speak about startup. Brands are hoping for and investing in a new start. This includes training young people and seeking to recover the precious knowledge that we have left behind in favor of large number, in favor of mass production and relocation. And then next word is flexibility, adapting to change. Time is expanding, the structures and timing of collections is changing. The whole mechanism of the fast fashion no longer work at the moment. Online and offline sales techniques, which were already in place before COVID, are now the new normal. Once again, digital has accelerated the processes of change. And then next word is fluidity. The modern is more and more fluid. It reconciles opposites, is not ashamed by mistakes, is empathetic and personal. Letting opposites live together, online and offline, creativity and discipline, beauty and functionality. New balances between materials and tactile aspects. No differences between the past and the future. It is a time in transition where seasonality is fluid and flexible too. The border between genders is increasingly fluid. Reformulating a plan for collections with a longer life, moving towards lines that include section of timeless products, especially in the luxury markets, destined to last more than one season. The future of fashion is linked to sustainability and digitalization. Digitization is difficult to pronounce for me this word, digitization. Netto's clock has started its countdown, and this countdown is right before our eyes. The point of no return is near, as less than 8 years. There is no more time. We need to act to change the way things are going. The new generations are very concerned about this issue and are urgently calling for action to protect this future. Fashion brands are responding and the industry is embracing sustainability, creating a circular system that protects the environment and the health. We are looking for concrete results. For leather, for example, basics are being reinterpreted in a sustainable way to create a unique feel. Different feel and new. This is based on technological research and the idea of pleasure. Research into metal-free tanning will support the new demands and need of biodegradable and compostable materials, as well as checking the production chain. We are now moving towards the development of materials where the concept of waste management is very important. In the world of textile, research is aiming at achieving carbon zero, saving water and energy, reducing waste and protecting resources. As such, there is a focus on natural fibers, but with a technical element seen in high-performance finishes. Research into the recycling of yarn and development in post-consumer PET and ocean waste is increasingly important. New footwear will have materials that reflect future concepts, of course, and then responsible projects will choose new technical assembly solution and that avoid the use of unsustainable glues with easily detachable parts to make recycling easy and practical. It is a state of mind. The 21st century starts again from a human perspective, from a view of nature where we feel its power, which drives us towards a new vision of everyday life. A hybrid season is beginning between nature and biotech. Research related to the needs of this moment will also be vital for the clothing of the future. We are thinking about materials and the sanitary and hygienic procedures that are applied to material. Shielding, sanitizing, filtering. Biotechnology applied to materials is helping us to develop a new generation of protection wear. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antiviral, and self-sanitizing. New accessories are added to everyday items of clothing, becoming a part of a new aesthetic. There is a new biotech breakthrough suitable for linens and other items. This will also help the development of the need for removable and washable antibacterial football, for example. Circular colors. Now a dialogue between the colors of spring, summer 21 and fall, winter 21-22, and finally with summer 22. The concept of range no longer makes sense. We are seeing a range of shifting colors that change the harmony of the stories according to the stage they are performing on. They furiously shift between summer and winter, and it is the material themselves that evoke them and make the difference. Or maybe it's the light. Yes, it's the light too. White and all its elaborations have to do with lights and all its shades. The digital lights too, the screens, the black boxes of our modern lives. And then about euphoria, the desire for light and colors after difficult time. Chiara, let's go into details.
Okay, so the details here, white. White, the most transitional color of all, alongside black. So we don't have to forget these. White and alongside black, from the coldest whites to wintry whites and the warm tones we saw last winter, we are moving to more battery and warmer shades into the bluish whites of full light and oxygen and freshness. Black, just as white, is a color in transition. Black and its derivatives, which were among the colors to receive the most attention in the previous edition, if you remember, will also be present in this summer 22. Neutral tones include some masculine gray greens, black, blue, and a touch of dusty light blue as an accent will be very nice. Brown. Brown is the new black. Basic color is evolving, camel tones become light leather tones, and darker winter browns are reminiscent of ebony. A touch of pink as an accent. We're still seeing very light, delicately hinted nude tones too, as you can see on the slide. Let's move into red, which is the color of fast reactions and powerful emotions. It shifts from burgundy to amaranth red, extending into violet shades of orchid tones. Fuchsia orange and fiery red as an accent in here. Blue, the color of video screens, as Antonella said before, reassuring in dark tones, relaxing in light tones. Symbolically, it is the color of decompressing and leaving stress really behind. A touch of lilac as an accent. Green, the range of greens is sliding and adding the new range for this summer. The shades of nature between light and shadows, the earth seen from above. A touch of light, a touch of bright yellow as an accent on the left, as you can see.
This is the summary, 5 range plus a new one. Summer brings light and colors, and the elaboration of this will be very, very interesting. This will be a starting point for the extrapolating the new of neon tones, the neutral and relaxing tones, and the colorful and euphoric combination of the summer that will, we hope will lead us towards a new feeling of freedom and positive vision of the future. The basic must-have for every collection are indicated by a red dot, a red dot. About materials, a season where materials are the bearer of emotion, where nothing is perfect, is the perception of luxurious looking materials, both for basic chic and more sporty look too. The naturalness of processes and materials is enhanced and made precious with small natural wrinkles, small shadows made with dyeing. Texture and grains are respected and enhanced by proportion. After many seasons of heavy gloss, a natural shine on surfaces will be appreciated. Naive naturalness is perceived by dyeing effects that seem finish-free, aniline effects. Materials to be customized. Materials that give pleasure is very important to focus on. Then materials that give pleasure to the body interact with fashion. Soft and enveloping with invisible performance elements. Soft and puffy effects extend the pleasure of a moment to relax, even during our everyday work. Positive vibration, prudence, and impetus can be seen in projects that look positively to the future. Patterns and bright colors to highlight with joy. Responsible design brings different generations together, focusing on value, quality, and durability. Euphoria and optimism in materials and colors. Then step 1, the basics.
So starting with a new story, rewriting basics, reinterpreted in a very sustainable way. Basic reinterpreted with an eye on sustainability creates its own and unique feel. Different but new, absolutely new edition. This is based on technological research and the idea of pleasure. New tactile aspects for new products. Basic products are adapting to new comfortable and functional footwear. Home comfort also for everyday use. Washable footwear, soft and light stretch. The concept of micro and macro is still present to renew classic looks. Primary natural shine on all surfaces. The most delicate become creamy with glacé effect. Crocodile, small lizard and tegus on dyed bases without livery. Small grains, printed and sanded, also on a book. And about textiles, we will have modern reinterpretations of the classics, start with traditional weaves, such as twill and the Panama, upgrading natural fibers and nylons to support, of course, sustainability. About details, the search for purity here, brass in the gleam of the finest galvanics, gold, palladium, ruthenium. Focus on the specific weight of materials, on thicknesses, and new softness. Playing with ultralight weights, ideal for clothing or entirely new uses. Gold handle nappers, textures is crisper, wrinkled calf skin, chic crumbling. And if we are talking about textiles, the focus is here on strong yarns for fabrics that are resistant but light and soft, very soft to the touch. Seeing details, zips on lightweight tapes on the right side, hollow brass for light and rounded metals, large chains and studs that do not weight leathers down, of course. Antonella said already before, past and future coincide. Here we are, borders are fluid, everything is permitted. for interpretation of iconic basics, both in terms of products and therefore the form and of materials. Focus on the performance of materials, biotech applied to materials with the treatments we talked about at the beginning. Waterproof, but also self-sanitizing treatments, for example. Seeing textiles urban and sophisticated outdoor, made of natural basics, heritage raincoats such as Macintosh, PFC-free water repellent membranes, on linen and as well on cotton canvas. Looking at details, removable and washable footbed, antibacterial with differentiated softnesses, antiviral treatments on tapes, on laces, and on zips as well. Fashion gets casual. Fashion casual will be influenced by outdoors and is very minimal chic. We will use natural looking materials that are simple but high performance for footwear that is balanced between fashion and technical. Thin leather, but very rich and creamy to the touch. Veil and lamb, rich and buttery to the touch. Velvety split leather with hidden technology. Water repellent, anti-scratch finishes, soft materials also bonded with comfortable technical materials, and light sanding. Watching out for details, an urban translation of outdoor details, which combine technical looks with a refined and modern aesthetic. Designer hooks and tips for laces using twin materials, such as metal and printed metallic braid, sustainable summer rubbers, light with very new transparency. Rewrite the desire for physical contact with humanity increases the essential aspect of material softness to the maximum are brought here. Tactile nappas, a naive kind of naturalness is perceived with dyeing effects that seem finish-free and in effect. Brush-off nappa, and the textiles here are traceable cottons, yarn dyed or with small textures. Working on open work and on sangalo, like contemporary lace, also on full-bodied basis. The world of vegetable tanning is also part of basic chic, an original and native word handed down by tradition. Two-tone double leathers, natural shine with waxing, vegetable tan reptile on both printed and real reptile.
Next step, the new normal, loungewear. Our homes have changed our way of existing. The home has become a primary place to be looked after like the body itself. A place that is suitable for video calls or for smart working. Our home has changed our relationship with the way we dress, less formality and more intimacy. Comfortable is important, a loungewear mood that is changing the volumes of clothes and making them communicated with the body. Comfortable products for state of well-being that is tied to being at home. Indoor footwear is an interesting new sector that is opening up and is beginning to carve out a space for itself.
Soft and enveloping, the desire for physical contact with humanity amplifies the embracing feel of all materials with hidden performance and natural looks. Comfort is seeking practicality and lightness, functional use, ergonomics and attention to details for structures that will be designed with a focus on wellness and harmony of movement. Designing with awareness of creating more human and environmentally friendly, very friendly products. Sport becomes slow and technology is hidden to give a more relaxed look. Puffy and delicate looking crocodile. The textiles here will be puffy and light, the world of more comfortable embossing and small padded items for spring. XL quilted or embossed terry cloth. Looking at details, hollow brass for swollen and light metals, large chain and cabochon that, as we said, do not weight leathers down. Constructing, but we're constructing with softness, weaves in puffy nappa and embroidered nappa, swelling glossy surfaces too with nap-like effects. The textiles will have puffy effects created by embroidery and other processes, cords and laser cuts for weaving, manual processes and contemporary knotting, all over macro studs and small rhinestones to make materials three-dimensional. So on leather, holes and perforated transparencies, starting from basics, micro holes like punching, look at the gloves on the right, a search for new perforations, full of joy. The details will have perforated metals for the links of chains, for buckles and swivels. About wrapped details are renewed with weaves or with perforated nappas that give us a glimpse of the metal underneath. New products with a more modern look and fashion that is self-proof, also inside the walls of our own homes, where sporty becomes soft and reassuring, young and designed, always with a touch-sensitive materials, as nubuck, split leather and suede in luminous colors that become vibrant, soft and velvety chamois, powdery finishes on leather for tactile sensuality, sanded nubuck. Textiles will have 100% linen and hemp fabrics, lightly twisted yarns and visible weaves, print-like cast shadows or shards of light, tone on tone. Taking details, here we'll have processes using eyelets and the threading of laces and strips. Small unisex polyester buttons to be dyed in the newest tone of the range. So back to basics with the tech and essential touch, reptile or geometric prints softened with light colored and natural waxes, nappa double bonded with natural fiber fabrics, and on textiles, flaming imperfections in linen, jute, hemp and silk, also to be bonded with nets or technical fabrics for a more technological look. On details, 3D prints for the cores of buckles to be wrapped. Supernatural, in direct connection with nature and with everyday life, as you can see, lived in, but super chic looks, raw chic for the home, woven leather and mixed materials, reworking basic weaves by redyeing and new glosses. Talking about textiles, vegetable fibers intertwined in large and small patterns inspired by local tradition. Sackcloth and jute with soft handle, natural looking stretch nets, vegetable fiber crocheting. Chic imperfection, colors that seem faded by the sun, guide the feeling of new materials to be personalized with bleaching, with washing and light and transparent padding, sanding the accentuated whiteness of the hair or grain. Two-tone effects creates with sanding or crackle on split leather. Natural or printed wrinkles and crease give a deeper perception of the color. On details, woods and shells give depth to the newest color in the range, veined bioresin. So here there will be a personal touch in everything we buy. The future, of course, is customization. Sport brands are doing it already. They call it co-creation, giving customers the opportunity to create their own products in store. Materials to customize with gesture-based processed on season or season, laminates with new performance, on textiles, logo jacquards in raffia, jute and hemp, non-solid colors decorated by manual brush effects tone on tone, on details, resin and silicone drips and dripping, cords and laces with heat shrink sleeves, solid colors, or patterned. Denim. Textiles jacquards will talk about finish on denim or decorated with photographic laser engravings. The blue textiles of work overalls, canvas, or lona, blue denim, but also in faded light colors, also with waxing on surfaces, so we can have the idea of protect them. All blue and ultra chic tie-dye and dyed effects move towards new fabrics and materials that are camouflaged against the sky. Textiles, tie-dye, batik, experimental dyes, eroded and bleached surfaces, processed jacquards that reproduce abstract designs such as spots or brush strokes, also replicated on details such as zips, laces, and as well elastics. Non-solid colors like new camouflage. Evolution of the concept of camouflage. The style is inspired by the outdoors brought into everyday use. And trekking and hiking, like desert boots, thought and multi-purpose, but also with sophisticated combinations and solutions inspired by sport and inspired by craftsmanship. Brush off, sponging, shading, and staining to create new tone-on-tone camouflage. The textiles, canvases are fat liquid waxed and coated, hand-finished processes, imprecise hand-applied silicones on diagonals, weaves, or coutelet. As far as details are concerned, let's try a fat liquid vintage look on waterproof zips, jacquard shoulder straps in monochrome cotton, playing with glossy and opaque finishes and waxing on cords and on laces. Dyed effect and padded. Handmade touches of footwear makes products unique, sometimes reinventing the looks of the past, which were too uniform maybe and too repetitive. Leather is also imprecise with an uneven perception of surfaces and color. Vegetable and non-vegetable in pull-up versions also contrast in two-tone, colors applied and removed, padding and vintage effects. About details, customizing snap bottoms with digital prints, washed out effects on metals, small parts in natural brass protected only by water-based glazes. Antonella?
Next step is romantic decor, and being romantic also means not following the rules, embracing idealism, being rebellious, fighting for a better world, believing that things can change. The first step is the color and deepening and luminous romanticism of last summer.
The positive and regenerating light of new pastels makes really the difference, making us smile, putting us in a very good mood. This is one of the most popular ranges of combinations for clothing. Nubuck, split leather, and suede are the natural materials to translate absolutely these colors, which become deep and vibrant. On textiles, peachy handle in the freshest tones for nylons and for cottons. New metallization, which blend with the leather rather than covering or hiding its characteristics. Iridescence and light shimmer, which start from gold and move towards color. Clear and colored metals, new laminates with new performance can be printed with plotter or high frequency printers and are therefore heat resistant. That's interesting though. So shading, the textiles will be shading on colored metals, on printed metallic knits, the natural sheen of silks, glazed surfaces, chintz effects, satin weaves, colored metallic reflections on natural fibers such as raffia. The details, refractions on glassy resins, light colored metallization, shading, and playing also with the shadows. The imperfection of the handmade crossed with industrial production, niche for craftsmanship within industrial production. Purling and jacquards hover between masculine and feminine, delicate hints of pearly glazes to emphasize the grain and prints. Pearly shading, printed like precious jacquards that play with light and play with purling. Textiles, handmade, hand-painted imperfection, purling that is not flat, shiny pearly jacquards, imperfect purling on fabrics with a paper-like handle, crisp. Handmade studio, this is the atmosphere, startup for makers, small numbers but high quality. The future for young people is linked to startups and the local dimensions. Small studios are springing up and will grow in the near future, focus on the precious details of handmade items where each piece becomes unique and becomes precious. Space in details for handmade processes, cutting, applying, embroidery, decorating, all these together. So we said the world of the home and its decorations close to the hand, inspired by wallpaper, seating and rugs, in particular English style for the most beautiful wallpapers. About textile, tradition is augmented by reinterpreting furnishing fabrics and all the world of furnishing fabrics. The details, folk and heritage passementerie, selvage, cords, piping and braids. Nappers, cords and fringes as well in viscose. Local, global folk. Interesting idea to be found in re-evaluating folk, local floral and traditional patterns explored in micro, macro, whether original and digitally manipulated, transformed into pixel. Digital folk. Exotic local design influenced footwear, creating curious and unusual looks. Mixing up typologies to create new products, reconsidering the structures for sports, taking on the influence of traditions, of course. Mixing up, reconsidering, we said, I'm sorry, I missed myself, I've been carried away. So cowboy boots transported to one of the new walls will have an innovative look, as well as the other typologies, clogs, sandals, ballet flats. About textiles, florals, arabecs, geometries, and local patterns alternate in jacquard, printed and double-faced materials. We'll be elaborating patterns through various processes, cornery, crochet, knitting, and lace. Not patchwork, but collage of patterns. Remember this. Color and prints, and on details, material-based collage on natural details of wood, stone, and shell. Pantograph processing on bioresin sheets derived from organic materials and completely biodegradable. Leather details, cut, laser processed, applied, decorated with threading.
Last step into high-tech and avant-garde digital. Our online journey continues, exploring a hybrid life between the real world and the virtual world. Brands have fully immersed themselves in this universe, interacting in a commercial or marketing way too. For example, dressing the avatars in video games that are surprisingly painted with real tones. Perhaps leaving the real tones for the real life. Art is also engaging with this new dimension in a playful and didactic way. Prism 7 is the first video game created by the Pompidou Center, for example. Here, colors are more about light than ever before. White and all its elaborations, light and all its shades, from nature to the web.
So a more, as you can feel here, a more urban, more technical or functional reading of leather. Often processes protect or add layers of resistant or light, technical polyurethane coatings, technical and plastic paints and finishes, glossy, crackly, like patent leather. Textured metals with regular prints with an urban vibe, or textures like regular scales that evoke reptile, fused into metals or polished on the surface. Here we find details that will have lights and shade on the textures of metal accessories and on three-dimensional embossing, playing with light, playing with shadow and silk screen printing on figurative details and logos, the hyper definition of microinjections, direct glossy silicone printing for signs and for graphics. It is a short, very short step from the design explored in spring-summer 21 to fashion gamers. This style, which grabs the future with both hands, full of grit and full of determination, of course. Time for action brings bold colors and energizing combinations. What we can say, be brave. That's what Antonella suggests. Be brave. Sport and casual, soft outdoor, technical parkour and basic street structures will have weights suitable for engaging with daily life. Sometimes light for high-speed performance, sometimes heavier for missions into the digital world. Materials are technical and high performance on very natural and sophisticated. Multicolor, multi-layer soles and soles with separate sections with different grip. The details will have pad printing, sublimation and high-frequency printing, the newest printing techniques. And here processes give even the most natural materials a digital and modern look. Weaves, nets, weaves that mix technical threads with leather or fabric cords, mixing and pattern is beautiful. On textiles, not just simple nets, but also embroidered or heat-sealed nets on transparent or contrasting bases. Weaving of colored nylon threads and printed digital strips with designs as well as with writing or logos as well. Details, TPU patches filled not only with glycerin and glitter, but also with moving elements and moving logos. Hybrids and global hyper-craftsmanship, nature and manipulation, inspired by the artist Sophie Parker. Pictorial, she painted, as you say, and creates pictorial interventions on natural and non-natural bases, distorted and blurry lines, pleats and gradients, surreal and fantastic florals, digital versions, and on details, ombre, pictorial effects on corrugated and wavy bases for ribbons and elastics, but also on rigid details, on handles or on zips for bags, or as well on stands. Digitally composed patterns vary fantasy, jacquards and photographic embroideries. The textiles will have micro and macro geometries for natural jacquards or nylons. So to each, what we can say, to each their own vision of nature. Techno-nature, the intersection of nature and technology in looks and processes, reptile prints with painted and reworked livery with Napla effect, liquids. The textiles will have inspiration is biomimetic, aquatic, vegetable, natural and artificial taffeta. Let's look at latex, membranes and translucent rubber on sneaker uppers. About details inspired by biomimetic, small parts are also exploring new shapes. Metals and resins are curved, bent, and go beyond simple geometries. Stretch fabrics are enhanced with ever increasing performance. So this performance is really important. Stretch, lycra, semi-gloss polyurethane rubbers, modular tech decoration. For the details, there is talk of a return to all-over crystals and microstuds to be experimented with on stretch materials as well. So waterproof, rubbery effects finishes on regenerated leather, new neoprene is renewable plant-based materials. And a word on details, summer version of coated zips, membranes and reinforcement in translucent colored rubber, jacquard lace with ends dipped in silicone or with heat shrink sheds. Technical or two-color double face. This is the perfect space to explore hybridization. We can imagine new combinations not only of colors and decorations, but also of materials and weights with new lightness. Coating, printing, bonding, decorating. Beauty plus performance with terry cloth and antibacterial materials for unlined shoes, belts, bags, and clothing. We can say that we are searching for new techniques for processing and decorating of materials are becoming increasingly sophisticated, and the results are ever more surprising and sophisticated. Laser cutting and carving and laser engraving on leather and on fabrics. Erosions that replicate photographic images by laser, like you can see the lion in the center of the slides. Fabrics treated with iridescent and laser engraved PU, which corrodes the various levels of PU. Native digital flashes of technolight on dark bases, natural photosensitive pigments. The details will have more inventions with LEDs and optical fibers, in particular in research into urban safety. On textiles, the natural fluorescence of colors derived from the structure of proteins. This is the research being undertaken by some American startup. They expect to be able to bring this to market very, very soon. Antonella?
Okay, last step to analyze the components of footwear, and let's start from the structures.
Okay, so looking at these in detail, semi-square and squared shapes are starting to get all attention, but we will need some more time to get used to this new visual effect, of course. These will shift from more assertive lines to softer ones, depending on the type of product we are doing. Soft geometric also combines aspects of wellness plus fashion or sport plus fashion. Products that have so far been characterized by standards that are unified by the market are now touched by a fluid and modern vision that mingles idea in a way that is sometimes eccentric, but always balanced. Outdoor, free time, sneakers and functional comfort will surely look towards soft and asymmetrical shapes and structures, more focused on comfort and on well-being. Elements of style will be perceived to be inspired by ergonomics. Basic casual, we have a rigorous look, a kind of balanced classic that is not exaggerated, never exaggerated, where structures have a predominantly central line. So looking at leather soles, the details of soles are very important, as well as weight, compounds in the case of technical materials, and volumes. Compositions will favor recyclable and eco-sustainable features. Talk about leather, naturals with know-how in the workmanship that enhance the look, which engains as well prestige, quality and luxury, handcrafted finishes, dyes and padding with a skillful touch, chromatic and artistic effect. Mixture soles, blends are comfortable, they're light, they're high performance and responsible, of course. We're still seeing semi-transparent and experimental effect, color and an in natural rubbers, such as natural rubber or latex. Volumes are swapping codes, low and light or striking, but more basic. Talking about heels, heels enjoy the freedom to draw out all the expertise in both materials and in design. Heels let us play with lines and intervention with an artistic air, in balance or in contrast. Looking and ending with typologies, ballerina flats will be both elegant and in relaxed or home working versions. Balance and basic folk or cowboy boots, sandals and clogs, traditional elements reimagined and redesigned for basic modern transpositions.
Well, this was the last slide for today. This was our season research. By this occasion on this digital event, you could visit in a digital way our virtual trend area, realized in real life with the materials produced by the Lineapelle exhibitors. So stay tuned and enjoy, and see you soon in Milano. Ciao. Ciao.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, Antonella. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.